Leave it on.
Motion by Ken, and a second by Dan. All in favor? Aye. No abstentions? I think everybody was here. All right, motion passes. Next, do we have any correspondence? Since we have such a nice large group here, I think I'm gonna amend the agenda to have student recognition last, so everybody can enjoy the meeting. All right, I have a couple people.
You gotcha.
All right, okay, we won't. Next on the agenda, student recognition.
Yeah, so it's the best part of any meeting when we get to celebrate our students and our families, and we have a big crowd tonight. As you know, this was supposed to happen back in January, and we had a cold day that we didn't want to make everybody come out in that cold. So today is just, what, 3 degrees warmer. So we're thrilled that you're here. And with that, I think we're going to start with Mr. Peters welcoming some, make sure that we recognize Mr. Peters. Oh, and before you start, please know that we're going to recognize students. We'll take a break so that we can take pictures, so we can have some snacks, some treats, and just celebrate each other. So know that we'll do our recognition and then just take some time to have some community together, okay? So don't freak out if you don't get a picture right now. We'll make sure that you get yours. Thanks, Mr. Peters.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Matt Peters. I'm the principal at Lotus School. And tonight we have an amazing group of kindergarten students being recognized. So I am going to turn it over to our kindergarten team sitting back there. Miss Miles, Miss Widener, Miss Serzek, and Mrs. Sleer. Also, wait.
Oh, look, they're showing pictures. Where did they go? Come on.
Silas is kind and compassionate. He is very aware of others and their feelings. He always makes sure to include others, not only in our class, but also with some of our special education students. He always makes sure that they are welcome in our class, and he loves going down there and reading with them and playing with them on the playground. He is smart and hardworking and is always eager to learn more and try new things, and he's always willing to help me whenever I need it. Right next is Evie. I don't think she's here tonight. Evie shows excitement about learning every day. She stays on topic and is always asking engaging questions about what we are learning. She's constantly challenging herself. During independent reading, Evie always asks for help with words she doesn't know, instead of just skipping over the word. She's always willing to help a friend in need. Evie is a very responsible student. I know I can trust her with any task. And I have Dimitri Harris. I don't believe he's here this evening either. He is, I just have to say, even this morning, I just thought, Dimitri, you are just such a bright light. He's one of the first students in my classroom every morning. He comes in with a big smile. He asks me if he can help me with anything in class. And then his next question is, what are we learning today? So how can you not love a student like that? Things might not always come easy to Dimitri, but he's always ready to accept a new challenge. And he does it with a smile and just with a kind heart. He's the first one in the classroom to share with his friends. If someone doesn't have something, he'll give his pencil, his Lego. It doesn't matter. He's always willing to share. He's just a wonderful young man. Fantastic.
The next group that we have being recognized tonight, or a majority of you guys are part of, is our Girls on the Run program. We have all our coaches standing back here. This has been a phenomenal program that we've been doing third season of Girls on the Run, and it has just grown, as you can see by the room full of girls in here. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Rowland. You can introduce your coaches and
We're gonna go up and also can you have all the girls come up.
All right.
No running.
Go ahead.
You're making me blush.
They're a little shy right now. Not during practice. All right, so I'm Kelly Rowland. This is Molly Crow, Megan May, Christine Spittler, and Gina Marcella. We have Ms. Kadera here. She's going to also be translating for us. So we're going to kind of speak in sections, and then Ms. Kadera will translate. So a year ago, my word of the year, if you've ever heard word of the year, we do it as a tradition in our district. My word of the year was determined. I was determined to bring Girls on the Run back to Locust. Girls on the Run is a program that encourages positivity through forward motion. You don't have to be a runner to be in Girls on the Run. You can hop, you can skip, you can walk, you can pick flowers on the way, you can move in any way that brings you closer to your goals. It helps girls realize their potential and what they're capable of. looking at all these amazing girls, all the coaches that are with me right now, I'm blown away. We did it.
Hace un año mi palabra del año fue decidida. Estaba decidida a traer Girls on the Run de vuelta a Lourdes. Girls on the Run es un programa que fomenta la positividad a través del movimiento hacia adelante. No tienes que ser corredor para ser parte de Girls on the Run. Puedes saltar, caminar o moverte de cualquier manera que te acerque a tus objetivos. Ayuda a las chicas a darse cuenta de su potencial y de lo que son capaces de hacer. Las chicas se reúnen 2 veces por semana durante 8 a 10 semanas para ayudarlas a obtener para una celebración de 5 kilómetros como conclusión del programa. A mirar esta sala ahora y las entrenadoras que están de pie conmigo, estoy realmente asombrada.
We have had 30 girls that have successfully gone through this program so far. We've had 2 seasons of Girls on the Run at Lotus in 2024, and then 1 season so far at Stanton this last fall. And then 5 of our girls from our team last year joined cross country this year at Stanton. And then some of the girls even repeated the program for a second time. We've got a couple this coming season again. New friendships were made, confidence was built, and girls learned what it means to be part of a team. In the fall, we took both teams to Chicago and ran a 5K in the city.
Hemos tenido 30 niñas que han pasado con éxito por este programa. Hemos tenido 2 temporadas de Girls on the Run en 2024 y una temporada hasta ahora en Stanton este año pasado. 5 de las chicas de nuestros fundadores se unieron al equipo de carrera en campo, cross country este año en Stanton. Algunas de las niñas repitieron el programa por segunda vez. Se hicieron nuevas amistades, se generó confianza y las niñas aprendieron lo que significa ser parte de un equipo. En el otoño llevamos a ambos equipos a Chicago y tuvimos una carrera de 5 kilómetros.
Next spring. Last spring, we hosted our own site-based 5K right here at Stanton. It was an incredible experience and so amazing to see so many community and staff members to be a part of it, from volunteering, cheering, running at Stanton, being a running buddy, or just completing the 5K distance with us. It took one team all in to make that event a success. We can't wait to continue this program this spring. Our next season will begin the first week of March and last for 10 weeks.
La semana pasada organizamos nuestra propia carrera de 5 kilómetros aquí en el mismo estado. Fue una experiencia increíble y fue maravilloso ver a tantos miembros de la comunidad y del personal participar, ya sea como voluntarios, animando, dirigiendo una estación, siendo compañeros de carrera o simplemente completando la distancia de 5 kilómetros con nosotros. Hizo falta un equipo comprometido para que este evento fuera un éxito. Estamos ansiosas por continuar con este programa esta primavera. Nuestra próxima temporada comenzará la primera semana de marzo y durará 10 semanas.
Before Ms. Fiddler gives the final part, would you show the photos?
I'd love to.
We have the photos collected over the season. This was our Lotus spring team last year. This was our site-based 5K that was right here in Stanton. That's us with Tobias. This was everyone we had turn out for the site-based 5K.
And what did we learn about our 5K? We
had a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was harder than the Chicago one. Yeah. So in our first 5K ever, we were the biggest one in all of Lake County. So there were several that ran in the same spring window, but because of the work, phenomenal people that you see here, we had the biggest turnout of any 5K on it. She's like, oh, there's you. And Ben.
One of the things I think that was most memorable
amazing moms who were holding this string, who let everybody across to break the line. So,
Everybody had their own finish line.
completely impromptu.
Yeah.
This is the Lotus ball team.
I love this picture.
The Stanton ball team.
Oh, you're adorable.
And this was our fall 5K in the city. Our Miss We are excited to announce that our spring site base 5K will be right here at Stanton on Saturday, May 17th. The photos speak for themselves. This is an event you won't want to miss. Right, girls? We are so proud of these incredible girls that stand before you. They are going to change the world in the best way.
Absolutely.
Woo-hoo. Nos complace anunciar que nuestra carrera de 5 kilómetros se llevará a cabo en Stanton el sábado 17 de mayo. Las fotos hablan por sí solas. Es un evento que no se va a poder perderse. Estamos muy orgullosos de estas chicas increíbles que están ante ustedes. Ellas cambiarán al mundo de la mejor manera posible. All right, we're going to send them off in a nice big Girls on the Run cheer. Ready? All right, Girls on the Run. It's so much fun. All right, girls.
So, thank you, coaches. Thank you, kindergarten team. I invite everyone to mark your calendars for May 17th because our Girls on the Run 5K is part of another big event, which will be Mr. Sefcik's retirement celebration. So, lots of amazing things. We are going to make it run. Lots of amazing things. That's fine. We'll decorate a golf cart. We'll do all that. Mark your calendars for May 17th. It's going to be an amazing day at the District 114 to celebrate our kids, our staff, and an amazing contributor to Stanton School. So with that said, let's celebrate for a few minutes. Girls on the Run, walk, don't run. Let's make sure, well, I'm careful. Just kidding. Don't elbow people out of the way. I want to make sure that you guys get your signs, so please do that. Let's get pictures. If you'd like to go, Stanton students, if you'd like to go up on the stage and get one with the Stanton backdrop, you're welcome to do so. Let's just enjoy each other's company and the amazing kids that you trust us with every day. Because wow, are they incredible people. So we'll take about 10 minutes. There's snacks. Make yourself, make yourselves at home, and we'll be back to business in about 10 minutes.
Okay, we're locking the doors.
I'm starting to get some text
Not allowed
messages
to
that our
leave. Leave
snack break
now
was
or
longer
you're
than 10
stuck.
minutes. Seventh grade team, I hear you.
I'm just the messenger.
We know what happens to the messenger.
Oh, poor Nicole. It's a tough crowd, tough crowd.
True.
All right, let's do this.
All right, back on track. We're at item number 8, audience comments. Anybody?
Do you have anything to say, Marla?
That's right.
Yep, okay.
Anybody online? Going once, going twice. Okay,
Didn't see any.
moving along. Next, we have the consent agenda, which represents the accounts payable and treasurer's report. Accounts payable in the amount of $722,337,337.59.
Mary, what'd
It
you
was
spend the treasure
a
for?
board bonus.
Don't say. That was a joke.
All right, we'll pull that from the payable.
Amend.
So again, AP, $722,337.59, and the treasurer's report. Any questions on any of those items? If not, I'd be looking for the approval.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Roger,
I'll second.
second by Ken. Please pull the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady? Yes. Mr. Bongiovanni? Mr. Krajewski? Yes. Mr. Galina?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we have the approval of the supplemental tax levy. Mary, you want to explain that?
This is for working cash bonds from 2018. You remember in December, we did a couple of other resolutions, a supplementary resolution, but that was to tell the Lake County Clerk not to levy money because it's being paid for with an alternate source. This one is in 2032, we're going to come up $5,536 short. So this resolution allows the Lake County Clerk to levy that $5,536 in addition in the year 2032. This should be the last supplemental levy that we, or supplemental resolution that we have to do for this bond issue. And that's what it is saying.
Any questions? If not, I'd look for approval.
Make the motion. I'll second.
Motion by Joe, second by Dan. Please pull the board.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Galina?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Grady?
Yes.
Mr. Bryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Krajewski? Yes. Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next, we are at administrative reports.
Awesome. I'm going to invite the amazingly fabulous, no longer Harshaw, Sammy Lear, to come on down.
So grateful if you get the slides up. We're the best committee in the whole district.
It was pretty great. This is my first year in the calendar committee.
We're gonna give you a yard sign.
You should have a yard sign, Sammy.
Yeah.
All right, so on the first slide, you'll see who's a part of the committee. Lotus, Stanton, and the district.
And I was really grateful in this. We had more people volunteer for the committee than we actually had spots for. You know, sometimes you get too big of a group, it's hard to make a decision. So we tried to balance out across the schools, different positions, different experience with the committee. So some have been on every year. Some, like Sammy, it was her first time. So it was really cool to see so many people who wanted to be a part of the work.
Yeah, pretty good balance. So what was typed? 176 student contact days, instructional days, 180 teacher work days. So that equals a maximum of 4 institute days, and guidance around contact days remains the same. So holidays, these are all the mandated holidays. Veterans Day is in red. It's not required, so you'll see a lot of, this year we were in session for Veterans Day, had a really awesome celebration where we honored veterans and our students got to be a part of it. So you'll see a lot of options that we presented to the schools, but the main factor was Veterans Day in it. So really there's only 3 options that we presented. So just some details around Veterans Day. What will we do if we're in session? If we were in session, that would mean that we're planning another school activity to honor veterans at each building. The 10-month support staff would then have the Monday of conferences. They would work the normal day, but they would have Tuesday off. So if we had it off, they would be required to work that Tuesday. So for a lot of our 10-month staff, this was something to keep in mind as they made their decision. And then 12-month staff, if we were in school Veterans Day, they would have an additional floating day that can be used during the summer months. So here are options. It looks like a lot, but it's not. You'll see at the very top is when summer school is. So that was a factor that we took into account, is how soon after summer school can we do the Chromebooks, get the classrooms in order, teachers have to get their classrooms ready for the school year. So A and B are the same color, with the only difference being the bottom, which is Veterans Day, which, so red is closed, A is closed for Veterans Day, B is open for Veterans Day, the same with C and D, and the same with E and F. So they have the same start days, and so we really talked a lot about teachers reporting on Monday, and then what that looks like for students that week, or is it better for students to have a full week? And we had a lot of great feedback from staff about that. And then all the breaks were kind of the same. Those align with Grant and Big Hollow. We feel like it's very beneficial for those to all line up. So you can see that calendar A is that blue section, B is that red section, and D is that green section. So those were the most votes, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was just a couple of those had Veterans Day open. We did notice, as we were just diving into this data, that A and B are the same start dates. It was just whether or not we were open on Veterans Day. And so when we looked at that, we said, okay, out of these 79 responses that we had, there's a pretty large percentage that wanted to start on that Thursday, August 14th. So things that we considered: survey data, we read through every comment on there, time between the end of summer school and reporting day. So that included, like I said previously, staff, buildings, computers, impact of a 4-day first week for students, alignment with other surrounding districts. And I think it was important, I think the next slide says, but most of the calendar committee actually preferred a different option. So just to say that before we present this, is that we were actually just really looked at the data and wanted to give most staff what they preferred.
I think it was the vast majority of the committee didn't want what you're about to see.
Yeah. So our recommendation is B. So that means we're in session on Veterans Day. Means that our start date would be a week after summer school. So summer school ends on a Thursday. First day for staff would be Thursday, August 14th. And then the first day for students would be Tuesday, August 19th. And that does affect the end of the school year. It leaves us with the last day being May 27th, which is a Wednesday. So a couple days, just to deal with some snow days or cold days, whatever could come. There was one option that ended like June 1st. Nobody wants to go back for a Monday on June 1st.
Overall, they're gonna end on a Friday, because then what if I mess up and make the wrong call? We gotta all go back on Monday.
Any questions? So you guys are doing the summer school late again,
Yeah.
that works out well.
So we had, done a survey before the calendar committee started its work, asking for input on summer school, because we've tried a couple different options. One is starting almost immediately after school ends. This year, for the first time, we did it after the 4th of July. Overwhelmingly positive in terms of having June to take a breath, come back for July. We shared with you earlier in the year the student performance data that would indicate that summer school programming was more effective than it's ever been on kids holding learning over the summer. So you put the combination of kids learning more and staff really supporting that. And I think just how it felt to come back for summer school. I think it felt like everybody was ready.
I know it was cool because I could witness my own students' gaps where I was like, oh my gosh, no, that's not where we ended a month ago. And we were able to kind of make some of that up before the school year started. And they were happier to learn.
It felt like everybody was kind of ready to be back, as opposed to doing it in June where it's a lot, right? So there was tons of survey data to support that, and we also asked for feedback on Veterans Day. Did you like being in session? Did you not like being in session? It was overwhelmingly positive as well, which is why we built all the options with those considerations and then gave that survey. So that's kind of the data behind the data.
So I think Grant High School start date was earlier than.
Always.
Yeah.
They have to get balanced semester so they can do the finals first, and it's all kind of driven by high school football, right, Lena?
Oh, yeah.
Then we have a summer school that's in there too.
Yeah.
After 4th of July, so yeah, it's kind of a tight window.
Questions?
Any questions?
How's that Cindy Lear?
Give her a yard sign.
You get a Lotus All-Star sign. So as you know, one of the responsibilities of the board is to approve the school calendar each year. So this is one that we would be asking for a motion of approval of the committee's recommendation for calendar option B.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Roger. Second by Danny. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes.
All right. So when we talk about happy kids in summer school or in the regular school year, we have tons of social emotional learning data that we want to look at. And to do that, I'm going to welcome the amazing triad of Megan Reimers, Marla Walensky, and Leah Falster to tell us about some social emotional learning data.
Just not behind it.
Oh,
No,
that's what I was
no,
gonna do.
no,
Everyone can face that way. So I'm Megan Reimers. I know most of you, but I'm the school counselor here at Stanton. My typical counterpart, Mrs. Mack, the social worker, couldn't be here, so I have the pleasure of being joined by Marla Walensky. She is our social work intern here at Stanton and also permanent sub. And then Leah Falster is our amazing ILPB paraprofessional. And then she also student taught here earlier this year, and she's part of our guiding coalition. So I was glad to be joined by them today. Are you guys, are you gonna click or? Yeah, I can do it, whatever you want. Okay, and I'm gonna sit. Yeah, please.
All right, our objectives tonight, we will be comparing Stanton's winter SEL data compared to the fall data. Our SEL benchmark data to our recent SEL survey, after which we will then talk about trends that were shown from the student perception on the school environment and how they feel supported, as well as how we are responding with what we have implemented throughout this school year.
So first, we want to take a little review of what we presented previously in the fall, and then compare that to our most recent results, both district and then by school. First of all, at the district level, we have 60% of students that are showing on track in SEL, which is significant. So if you look at the number of respondents that we have, to a change of 2 to 3% would indicate a significant change, and we had 7, so we were very happy to see that.
Yes. Thank you, Nicole. Let's celebrate that.
Over at Lotus, we saw some impressive growth in their social emotional intelligence and competencies. Overall at the school, we saw a growth of 12% from the fall, so from 49 to 61%. And we had a little fluctuation in the grade levels, but kindergarten had amazing growth, so we wanted to point that out. I think they had 13% growth at Lotus, so that's awesome.
Way to go, kindergarten.
And they all get signs now.
Everybody gets a sign.
We're on a tight budget.
Well, you just approved
They can share one.
$700 million.
You guys can share some.
For Stanton's overall sample, significant change would be somewhere between 3 and 4%. So when we're looking at the overall score, we did see a small decrease of 2% overall. But when we're looking at all of the grade levels, we saw growth or stability in all grade levels except for 1. So we'll be focusing on what other changes we can make there and where they can use some support. But overall, we were happy to see so much growth there as well. Additionally, I wanted to mention that any of the students that were identified for tier 2 and 3 support that participated in interventions did show growth in their personal scores in their target areas. So that was great too.
Okay, our current interventions and then our next steps. So currently our data for these tier interventions are being analyzed to identify which students might need to either continue on or start new on tier 2 and 3 interventions. And then also at Stanton, students that are identified as needing small group or individual interventions and supports, they will start those in March.
And generally, Lotus is also in line. They have about the same time frame. Okay, so the bulk of what we wanted to focus on tonight is some data that we did not get to share with you the last time. But the staff at Stanton's been working really hard implementing some changes, and we just wanted to highlight some of the changes that we're seeing in the data for you because we thought it was important to show. So when we're talking about the support and environment, our entire SEL intervention program is based around student relationships with their teachers and the staff here at Stanton. And our new program, the Courageous Classroom Curriculum, really focuses on not only building those relationships and strengthening them, but also giving the kids the skills that they need to be successful academically and personally as well. So keeping that in mind, we've been looking at the longitudinal data.
This is our teacher-student trust graph comparing from 2021 to 2024. And there has been a bit of a decline from neutral to, or from strong to just under neutral. And that's for our supportive environment portion of the survey. So we can see from 2021 to 2024, it's been a little bit of a downward trend, but we are still around the neutral area.
So to be clear, the metric for this is the 5 Essentials survey, which is given every spring. We're about to open the window. And so anything you see reflected in this graph is pre-launch of STAR. So we can see that metric, and we'll have new fresh data within a couple of weeks on this. Everything else we're going to show you is post-implementation of the support system that the whole building's been working in and the data within that. So our greatest hope would be that, well, I can't say that because you're going to share the data. Never mind, you'll see.
So keeping that in mind, Marla's going to show us what that looks like in the panorama data.
So yeah, these two graphs are depicting our panorama data from the 2023-2024 school year. And the data trend shows that it is congruent with the student sense of belonging as well as student-teacher relationships.
So when we made the change to panorama at the beginning of last year, and we noticed that these trends were happening, we decided to implement as part of the SEL survey that we give to the students
some questions in these two target areas of sense of belonging, which is how they feel about how they are valued here at school, not just with their staff, but with the staff and the faculty, but also with their peers. And then also how they feel about the student-teacher relationships that they have here and how strong those are, not only in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom. Keeping that in mind, and after we talked with the staff and we looked at the research, nationally about behaviors and the social emotional impact on academics, we have implemented a lot of changes in the last 2 years. So first, starting with Jeff and myself and Kim in the fall of 2023, we started with the STAR program, and over the last year, we have successfully trained the entire staff, including the bus drivers and the kitchen staff. Everybody here at Stanton is now a trauma-informed specialist so that they can approach how we're working with our kids in a little bit of a different way. We made that flip to Panorama, so we changed from Savers. We felt like this was a more in-depth survey that we could really target those things that we were seeing. We worked with the Guiding Coalition to align the Circle of Courage that is part of our curriculum that we're using with our new SEL interventions, with the PBIS pillars and the FRIS 5. We went phone free with our couches, and we have changed from our previous curriculum to the Courageous Classroom Skills of the Week. And before I show you the next slides, I just wanted to let Leah and Marla, if they had any insight, because they're in the classroom more than I am, just what their insights are on kind of what they see since we've been doing them.
So two of my biggest things that I've noticed is how staff is responding to undesired behaviors and understanding that it's not a choice to make a poor decision. It's a learned response from how you are growing up at home and what you have to deal with at home. The second one is the yonder pouches. I feel like students are having more authentic interactions with each other socially and actually making heart-to-heart connections with each other.
I would agree. I was nervous after seeing last year like how they were very dependent upon their phones, but the yonder pouches now, it just seems like a daily thing. They come in, they open it, they put their phone in, and then it's like kind of out of sight, out of mind. And even if a kid talks about missing their phone, they only talk about it for 5 seconds, and they're only disengaged for those 5 seconds, and then they re-engage in class and like with your peers and with your students, rather than last year when it's like they pull out their phone and they're disengaged for 15 minutes. Like, you're seeing a lot better, I think, just like overall engagement and just like relationship development, like you were saying. And then also, I feel like with doing the Circle of Courage and integrating that in the mornings, I just feel like the kids are grasping it more. Even when we like circle up and you might feel like there's a student who's not into it, it's like the lessons that they're being taught and how they're being implemented seem like they're soaking in, if that makes sense. Like you might not see it right then and there, but then they go out in the hall 2 periods later and you're like, oh, you were listening. Like, this is great. This is really cool. So
Like they're able to make the connection from the Circle of Courage to the lesson.
Yes.
The Courageous Classroom every week.
it seems easier to apply compared to second step.
I just wanted to share a quote from a student when we were talking about phones. He said, "We deserve to have our phones taken away," which I thought was amazing. I thought everyone would love that. So when we talk about the changes that we've made, go ahead.
So when you make a big change in any capacity, you will always see an implementation dip, which kind of looks pretty low to us. So you'll see a decline in performance when there is a change. So with implementing Yonder Pouch, STAR, and Courageous Classroom, Circle of Courage, everything that we've implemented this year, I mean, you can feel that there is sometimes a downward shift, but you can still see that it's going to be good.
So you would expect to see these big dips and then hope that you can limit the amount of time that you're in there. So when we started looking at the data that came in from these surveys, for sense of belonging, this is where we left off on the previous graph. So that would have been spring of 24. You can see across the grade levels that we saw growth from
from all of the grade levels. And then as expected, you see a little bit of a dip in those 5th graders up there in the yellow. But our 6th through 8th graders have continued to climb, and their growth had an 11% increase in their sense of belonging, which again, it should have been significant is considered 4 to 5%. So that was really exciting to see.
Well, and what the implementation dip would say would, it should have gotten worse. And that's statistically significantly better.
So that was exciting. And then for our teacher-student relationships, again, we see across the grade levels, we can still see growth. Our 5th graders, they had a 19% increase in their responses from spring of 2024 to the winter of 25, which is huge. They should have been at 7 to 8% for a significant increase. Our 6th through 8th graders continue to climb. I think we went up a couple, 2 or 3% each time. So still growth that we're seeing, which is amazing considering all of the changes we've had.
Well, I think that's really significant at 5th grade, because what's true about the 5th grade team?
They're
all brand new to Stanton.
all brand new, and doing amazing things down there. We share their hallway, and I just shouted them out on the morning announcements because when they have a student in a classroom down there that is celebrated on the morning announcements, you could hear like them erupt in cheers for their classmate, and it's really exciting. So our next upcoming benchmarking will be for both schools will be that last week of April, and that is all we have. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you guys so much for your time. Do I get a yard sign? Everybody gets a yard sign. We'll share it. Okay, fair enough. Thank you. We're conserving. We're conserving.
All right. Next on the agenda is the personnel report. It's here for your consideration. We have some change in status. I do want to discuss a couple of the things listed here. One being, you have in your packet a request from Anna Morris. If you remember, she and her adorable husband were on the meet to request a leave of absence. For next year, she has submitted a request to go, no, I don't want to do that anymore. They, as you know, are expecting, they just got a house, some pieces for childcare landed for them, and she'd like to stay working with us. And I think we're elated at that request. So she's like, is it going to be okay? I'm like, girl, I think you'll be fine. They are not on the call tonight because she is very tired as pregnancy is coming to an end, but I wanted to give a little bit of information about that. We also have 2 hires to recommend this evening. The first being Natalie Edston is our recommendation for our Director of Business Services. As you know, Mary Taylor retires at the end of this year after 7 years of amazing work, leaving huge shoes to fill. So we were looking for somebody smart, somebody savvy that knew our system, could speak finances, could speak grants, could speak all those things that like you love. We found somebody that likes it as much as you do, and that is Natalie. So we did a search for candidates, as I promised this board we would do, and by heads, shoulders, all the parts, Natalie came through, and shown as, without question, the person that we would like to recommend for the position. Anything you'd like to say?
Well, you know, I'm very committed to this district, so it was really exciting. So thank you for all the kind things you've said. And I hope I get a sign.
Were there any other candidates? Wait, were there any other candidates?
Yes, there were other candidates. All right, everybody gets a sign. You don't have to ask anymore. So Mary, you know we love you to pieces. She's not going anywhere until the end of the year. Natalie is staying happily employed as the assistant principal at Lotus until the end of June. Pending board approval of this recommendation, we'll start a search for her position, which is no small shoes to fill either. But it would be the recommendation for the best interest of the district to have Natalie step into that position. And I personally couldn't be more thrilled. Second to that then is, as promised, we have a recommendation for the principal at Stanton. An amazing human being has given, I'm not naming him, but Jeff Sefcik continues to give heart and soul to this building, and it won't stop. It'll change roles as of June 30th, but Stanton will always be a part of Jeff, just like it was a part of Bill Lomas, who was just here, and Ralph Stanton's legacy, because once Stanton gets you, it gets you. And he and Christy are happily retiring at the end of this school year, which leaves us the opportunity to look for candidates. We, again, had a search for that position. We had 18 applicants, which is a lot in the current job market. We had a hiring committee here. Kim Huskell was on the committee, Nicole Culbertson, Mark Perlman on the hiring committee. We went through paper screening. Oh, and Megan, sorry. I was looking over here because that was you guys sitting together. Hey, Megan, sorry. We paper screened everybody, invited 9 candidates to meet with us, and very quickly, 3, but especially 1, piqued our interest. And so we invited those 3 people back for a station interview that had to have felt like the Olympic decathlon for these 4 candidates. We put them through the ringer, so they had to prepare a presentation about their first 100 days in the position and present that to the hiring committee. They had to sit with Jill Beckmer, Michelle Burgess, and me to talk about how an office runs, how they would run their office, and then do an impromptu response to a scenario where they typed that up for us to consider. Then they got to meet with a group of parents, and Jen sat in that parent group along with Natalie, the facilitator, and 4 other parents from the community who had indicated that they would be interested. And at the end of that evening, it was crystal clear that Tom Cardamone was the person to come be with us at Stanton. And I am elated to welcome him and his wife, Amy, to our meeting tonight. Tom comes to us with 17 years of administrative experience. He's been a middle school teacher. Everything's been at middle school, right? And you either love it and you're great at it, or it's not your jam. He is the kind of person that you want working with our kids. So without hesitation, I would ask that the board accept the recommendation for hire of Tom as the next principal at Stanton School. And in total, then, I'd be asking for approval of the personnel report as presented to you this evening.
Or we can table it. Meeting, or the hires anyway.
I really appreciate you not. You don't get a sign. No sign for you.
Any questions on the personnel report? If not, I'd be looking for a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Roger and second by Jen. Please poll the board.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Brien? Yes. Mr.
Yes.
Mrs. Browski? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Dabrowski?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Benjamin?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
I'd love it if you guys could stick around a couple minutes after the meeting.
Tom's speech.
I wasn't gonna, I knew Natalie was doing it. Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
And you're stuck with us, Natalie. All right, finance and facilities updates. Committee updates.
Okay, so we did meet as a committee and discussed our need to do a 10-year life safety survey. We are up for that. Last one we had didn't really show anything on there that needed to be done. However, we do have to have an architect this survey. So, and the best time would be this summer. Tammy's going to be joining us next month, and talking about financing, anything that shows up on this life safety survey. So with that, we, like I said, we do have to hire an architect. We can interview them, or we can, because it's going to be under $40,000, we can appoint them. It really depends on what the board would like to do. We'd like you, we can do that. Interview architects specifically for this survey.
And kind of for the board's reference, historically, a lot of schools have architects that they assign for like the whole year. We had done that years ago and didn't have the greatest luck, so it's not required that we have an assigned architect, so we decide we'll pick and choose as we need them. So.
Exactly. They won't even get an invite to the party. So the timing on this is really important for two reasons. One being the 10-year requirement to do such a study. So the last one was done just prior to me starting in the position. The second piece of this, and Tammy Beckwith-Shalmo from PMA will explain this at next month's meeting, having the recommendations in that 10-year health life safety can open possibilities for funding that wouldn't require any kind of referendum work. It would help us keep our commitment to the community, which was when we passed the referendum in 2020, that's it, while still allowing us to meet some big picture needs. Example, the flat roof over at Lotus, some of the bigger things that we talked about. So as we were building that priority list, you'll remember we took a time out to say, wait a minute, can we work backwards for school maintenance grants? Could we look at some creative financing alternatives? So that's why, in addition to it being up for the 10 years, getting a more accurate one will help create opportunities for us to do some of those major projects while still keeping our referendum funds from the last time. I guess what.
So we would have to start looking for an architect. If you're interested, we can bring some in for interviews, just to talk about the life safety survey. And I think that's probably going to be the best. It's just to see if we like.
I guess being as involved with all the districts as you are, we can pick 2 or 3 recommendations and maybe or 2.
And just whittle it down.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with the finance or the facilities committee being on point for those interviews?
Yeah, I think I am. Yes.
You have to, yeah. You're on it again. Do you want a yard sign? What's it going to take for you to set this table?
We got Ken Dan on the committee, yeah.
Then that's what we'll do. I'll get some recommendation from the other superintendents.
On a side note, we are set to go with Johnson Controls with Stanton having the additional smoke alarms. June 9th. It should take, we're saying 1 week, but if we need to split it to 2 weeks, we should be perfectly fine for summer school.
And we saw that deposit in tonight's accounts payable.
Correct, yep.
So Tammy will be here at the next meeting for an update. All right, any transportation shifts, Mayor?
Yeah, we did have a couple of things happening. We did replace the van at the school, and we purchased another one. And in anticipation of taking back another contracted route for our vans. Our new bus driver will be taking his test next Monday. That's the on-the-road test. So we're almost there. Mm-hmm. We're almost fully staffed. We're getting there. So, but those are the major changes for last month.
Thank you, Mary. Any questions on that? All right, shifting to policy to wrap us up this evening. For your consideration, you have the approval of the Vision 2030 resolution. We talked about this at the last meeting. Just wanted to take a look at it and endorse, or ask for the board's endorsement of this Vision 2030. We had, like I said, talked about it in the last month's meeting, but hopefully helping to put some checks and balances in place for unfunded mandates, making sure that local districts have more of a voice in that process. Ensuring that we're seeking out highly trained educators in the pipeline. And I think the most important piece internally to us is making sure that that accountability system is more equitable to all rather than the way that it has been so far, with so much funding connected to student performance rather than growth. So we'd be looking for the board to consider. You had a chance to review it last month. Thank you, Christy, for cleaning it up a little bit and making it 114 friendly. So we'd be looking for the board's consideration to approve the resolution for Vision 2030.
If this guarantees all of that you mentioned.
You're asking for a guarantee on state funding?
Well, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll ask.
Looking for a motion. No, that by.
I'll second.
A motion by Ken, a second by Roger. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion passes.
The other thing I'd like to talk to the board quickly about is the review of policy 830, which is visitors to and conduct on school property, given some recent concerns on the broader community related to entities perhaps coming on site to ask for student information or to intervene with school business. You have the policy here that drives our practices, and then I also shared with you our internal protocols should something like that happen. It's not my intent to make the protocols public, but I do want you, this board, to know that we have very clear response plans should any entity show up asking for anything about our kids. So those are in place, fully compliant with policy 830. No changes need to be made to the policy. And the administrative procedures have been shared with all of our leadership team and our front office staff to ensure that we're all ready should something happen. So just a point of information for you.
Okay, thank you.
With that, the March agenda will consist of, as we've said, Tammy from PMA will be here to look at long-range financing. We'll also have academic benchmark data for you, so our mid-year checks on that. Anything else that this board would like to hear about at the March meeting or upcoming? Well, you know, if there's something that comes to light, you can always let me know. We do have some questions that we're asking about the TIF process from the most recent village board meeting. So more information to come there. I have more questions than answers right now, so I'm not ready to share anything, but when we have facts, I will share those with you under finance and facilities updates. Christy Foyas.
We have the smart procure one we get every month or two. Mary uploaded our purchasing records. We also had another request from the Lake County Gazette, which we said we were not responding to legally.
Correct.
This is not something we are required to respond to, so we said that as well.
And that's it for the month, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. March 12th is a Lake Division dinner. Roger, are you going to that?
Yes.
Anybody else? Ken, are you going to that? I think I will, yeah. Okay, could you just confirm with Christy, anybody that's going? Okay, the March 18th board meeting is on the calendar. And I think that's it. There is no need for closed session this evening. I would like to express gratitude to Jeff, to Rochelle, and to Lynn and the entire Stanton staff for welcoming the board here this evening and putting on what I think was a great recognition for Mr. Stanton. I hope that the family appreciated it. I know that a lot of TLC went into that. You are. And thank you. I think, Jill, are you still here?
Yes.
For making the plaque happen. It was a really, really nice evening. So thank you all for welcoming the board and making that happen for the Fox Lake history. That that was pretty cool. So thank you.
Next month is my 58th birthday on the 18th, so if Helen doesn't let me stay home, I will accept it. I'm not, no sign.
No sign? I got one for you.
The sign will fit right on top of your head.
All right.
All right, with that, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion.
He wants to sign.
Dies for lack of a second. Oh, okay, all in favor? All right, those all ayes, yeah, okay, motion passed.
All right. Thanks, everybody who joined us online. You get a sign too if you want one. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Yes. Stay warm.
So I think you guys need to go to Vegas.
I'm going to, I've never been there.
Yeah.